Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Adli Berosdi from BA 24938. Our group will present about personal reasoning, Ijtihad. So, I will start first. Definition of Ijtihad. Literally, Ijtihad is from Arabic word known as masdar for Arabic word ijtihada, whereas its root word is jahada, which is mean hardworking or diligent. Technically, ijtihad is making a great effort in order to seek the hukum syara, the law of Sharia, which is particularly practiced by doing the process of istinbat, the effort of a mujtahid by giving up all the available means of obtaining Islamic law related to the act of mukallaf in the manner prescribed by the Shara. From this from this understanding, it can be concluded that Islamic jurisprudence here is devoted to the mind and the desire obtain a Sharia law on a problem with the purity of the Quran and Hadith. The field of ijtihad must also be an event where there is no clear law, whereas the mujtahid is a jurist who devote all the earnest and diligence to obtain Islamic law from a detailed proposition or interpretation of the Sharia argument. Definition of contemporary ijtihad in Arabic word, it is known as ijtihad al-muttasir, where al-muttasir means contemporary or new. Contemporary ijtihad or in other words may be referred to as new or modern ijtihad became a discussion among Islamic intellectuals today. Ijtihad has become a key tool in resolving the legal issue of society arising out of the changing time of today. Therefore, Islamic intellectuals have been actively pursuing ijtihad. The current context needs to be emphasized until the new term of ijtihad is established. Next, about the value of ijtihad. The practice of ijtihad is a religious duty. The opinion of majority jurists, fardu kifayah, a collective obligation of all qualified jurists. Fardu ain is a personal obligation of the qualified jury in urgent case. Mandab recommended in all cases where no particular issue has been referred to the jurist. Haram forbidden when it contradicts the decisive rules of the Al-Quran, Sunnah, and Ijma. That's all from me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Ikram Hakim bin Zulkifli. So I will talk about the proof or hujjiyah of the ijtihad. So the ijtihad is validated by the Quran, the Sunnah, and the dictators of reasons. Of the first two, the Sunnah is more specific in the validating ijtihad. So the ulama of usul have also quoted in the two hadiths, one of which made a pursuit of knowledge an obligation of every Muslim, man and woman, and the others one declared that ulama to be the successor of the prophets. So the relevance of the last two hadiths of ijtihad is borne out by the fact that ijtihad is the main instrument of creativity and knowledge in Islam. So the numerous Quran ayat that relate to ijtihad are all in nature of probabilities. All the Quran ayat which the ulama have quoted in the support of qiyas can also be quoted in support of ijtihad. In addition, we read in Surah At-Taubah, let a contingent from each division of them devote themselves to the study of religion and warn their people. The devotion to the study of religion is the essential of ijtihad, which should be a continuous feature of the life of the community. Although the pursuit of knowledge is the duty of every individual, attaining the tafaqquh or erudition in religious disciplines is necessary for those who guard the community and warn them against division and ignorance. On a similar note, we read in the Surah Al-Ankabut, and those who are strive in our cause, we will certainly guide them to our path. So there is several conditions or shurut of the ijtihad. So the first one is the mustahid must be a Muslim and competent person of sound mind who has attained the level of intellectual competence which enable him to form the independent judgment. Second one is mustahid must also have knowledge of Arabic to the extent that enables him to enjoy the correct understanding of the Quran and the Sunnah. The third one is the mustahid must also be knowledgeable in the Quran and the Sunnah, the Makki and the Madin's content of the Quran, the occasions of its revelation, and the incidents of abrogation therein. So next is the mustahid must also possess an adequate knowledge of the Sunnah, especially that the part of it which relates to the subject of the subject of his ijtihad. This is the view of those who admit the divisibilities or tajziyah of ijtihad, but if the ijtihad is deemed to be indivisible, then the mustahid must be knowledgeable of the Sunnah as the whole, especially the ahkam text, often referred to as hadith al-ahkam. So next, the mustahid must also know the substance of the furu words and the point of which there is ijma. In the apportion of the qualification of a mustahid, the ulama of usul place a special emphasis of the knowledge of qiyas. Furthermore, the mustahid should know the objective or maqasid of the Sharia, which consists of the masalih, the consideration of the public interest. The most important masalih are those which the lawgiver have himself identified and which must be given priority over others. And finally, the mustahid must be an upright or adil person who refrains from committing sin and whose judgment the people can trust. So that's all for me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh. Thanks to my friend for their points. First of all, I want to introduce my name. My name is Muhammad Aslam bin Muhammad Rafi. Today I am going to present about the modes of ijtihad. The first mode is istihsan. What is istihsan? Istihsan is an Arabic term for juristic discretion. In its literal sense, it means to consider something good. Muslim scholars may use it to express their preference for particular judgments in Islamic law over other possibilities. It is one of the principles of legal to underlying scholarly interpretation or ijtihad. Istihsan, an Arabic word derived from the word al-husna, which means good, which is the opposite meaning of al-kub, which means bad. The word istihsan is used to express decorating or improving or considering something good. There are 6 types of istihsan. Firstly is nas, secondly is ijma, ma'ruf, darurah, maslahah, and the last but not least is qiyas. The next mode is uruf. What is uruf? Uruf is an Arabic Islamic term referring to the custom or knowledge of a given society. To be recognized in an Islamic society, uruf must be compatible with the Sharia law. When applied, it can lead to the deprecation or inoperability of a certain aspect of fiqh. Uruf is a sort of Islamic legal rulings where there are not explicit primary texts of the Quran and Sunnah specifying the ruling. Uruf also specifies something generally established in the primary text. The third mode of ijtihad is istishab. What is istishab? Istishab is an Islamic term used in the jurisprudence to denote the principle of the presumption of continuity. It is derived from an Arabic word meaning accompany. It is one of the fundamental principles of the legal deduction that presume that continuity of a fact. It is based on probability and can be applied in the absence other proofs. The next mode is istidlal. What is istidlal? Istidlal is a process in ijtihad. Istidlal can be defined as the reference, proof, or guidance. This word then means seeking for the reference or the proof or the guidance. Istidlal is a necessary process before concluding a law or particular case. This process is what classic scholars deeply care about. Then, even Imam Shafi'i refused to answer a question if he thinks there are many dalil to consider for answering, with some of them contradict others. The last but not least is maslahah mursalah. What is maslahah mursalah? According to the fiqh, maslahah mursalah is the benefit that has been Sharia in the form of law. In order to create the benefit, in addition to not there is evidence that justify or blame, maslah is the study of the aims and the objective of Islamic law. Maslah is often used by ulama as a method in wrestling the law to answer the legal problems that arise. The next point is the complete process of ijtihad. The first process is the mujtahid that refer to authoritative in case the ruling of the matter is found in them with a definite indication. If the implication of the definitive that is speculative but injected diligent by the previous mujtahid and agree on a ruling unanimously, then it's become consensus. But if the previous scholars did not agree on a ruling and each had an opinion, and if those previous scholars were among the opinions, then he can choose one of the opinions of the companions and their successors in which to him sounds strong and convincing and should not deviate from them. In case the previous mujtahid were not among the companions, then the mujtahid must do his best, look at the evidence and strip up whether his opinion agree with the opinion of one of them. The second process is the speculative implication evidence and follows the same step as in the definitive text evidence as explained above in the first stage. Where there is no text, the previous unanimously agree on an opinion, then it has the ruling of consensus. But if it disagree with the companion opinions, he has to take his opinion in according to the companion methodology. The methodology in conducting ijtihad start with referring to the text in the hope that a mujtahid may find an indication in each of the incident presented from the text. The last process has essentially been formulated by Al-Shafi'i, who is noted to have observed the following. When an incident occurs, the mujtahid must first check the nusus of the Quran, but if he finds none, he must refer to mutawwid hadith and then to solitary hadith. If the necessary guidance is still not coming, he should postpone resource to qiyas until he has looked into the manifest or zahir text of the Quran. In conclusion, the conditions under which ijtihad was formerly practiced by the ulama of the early period are no longer what they were. For one thing, the prevalence of statutory legislation as the main instrument of government in modern times has led to the imposition of further restriction on ijtihad. I think that's all for us. Thank you.